lucky day for our ram, Shaun. It's breeding season, so we want to show you, we're going to put him in with the ladies. We also want to share a little bit more about our sheep, why we chose them, what is easier to manage about them on a small homestead. So we'll go ahead and get Shaun moved over with the ewes. We'll show you how we have them set up, and then we'll talk a little bit more about them. Great thing about our ram, Shaun, is he's sweet. He lets us use a halter on him, which is a huge help. And a big piece of advice, a huge tip, if you get a young ram or even the bucklings, to work on halter training them before they get too big and stinky and overrun by hormones where they won't want to listen to you. Shaun is very sweet and mild. He lets the kids handle him. And so we were pretty intentional about working on that before he got too big. These are our ewes. It's been several months since they've seen Shaun, so this is fun. We're gonna put him in there real quick. They are incredibly skittish, and so we're really hoping that this time with Shaun, who is so friendly, will really help friendly up the girls. This is gonna be fun to see them back together. Shaun is so mild-mannered. So you can see how they run from Caleb. Here, Caleb, I can grab the fence. So these are Katahdin hair sheep. They have wool, but it sheds out. We don't have to shear them. They have been very hardy for us. So we're actually breeding them now, which will give us late January, early February babies. It works out well. Shaun's not sure what to do. It'll work out well. It'll still be a little bit cold, but then that gives us time to have kidding season a few weeks later and not be lambing and kidding at the same time. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this fence back on. It's on, buddy, don't touch. So he is used to hanging out with the boy goats, so it's funny to see him not sure what to do with these ladies. And I don't know if you can hear the boy goats calling for him. You can also see here we have our homemade little DIY shelter. We just bent a cattle panel in half. Well, we actually cut it in half and then bent it. And it works great as a sheep shelter. We have our electric fences here. We move them about every 2 days. Move them around. We are able to move them all around our front pasture here, which is a huge space. We can get almost 80 days before we have to cycle back over our ground. And that really helps relieve parasite problems, especially here in Middle Tennessee. The warm, humid climate is just a huge problem for parasites, and so by moving them off the ground, they're not re-exposed to ground that has parasites. So intensive grazing and management and an herbal wormer have been very successful for us. On occasion, if something changes, I'm not afraid to use a chemical wormer, but I do try my very best not to need to. So we try to manage them on the front end and have grass-fed sheep that are naturally raised. It's fun to see them get used to each other. So this is Luna, and she's sweet. She will let me hold out my hand to her, but then she doesn't come any closer, and especially with Shaun around. But I'm excited for them to kind of be together. They'll be able to hang out together this winter. and we'll leave them as a little herd. So the reason we have sheep is part of our homestead goals is to raise enough food for our family and for others if we have extra. And so these sheep, we are hoping will be good breeding stock for us. We got it from a friend. They should be quite hardy. They should be great moms. And so the plan is to breed them these two ewes that we have now. They'll give us lambs in the spring and then raise those lambs up. We will probably plan on keeping any ewes and probably plan on using any ram lambs for meat. So it gives us a way to provide healthy, high quality meats for our family. And we know that we are taking really good care of these sheep. They're getting amazing pasture. They're getting loved on by my kids and my family. And so we know that we are giving them the best life that they can have. And then they provide for our family as well. I also wanted to mention the difference between sheep and goats. Sheep are easier to manage in some ways, and the goats are easier to manage in some ways. The goats are much friendlier. They have more personality. They're kind of fun to have around, but they're also ornery. If there is an opening, they will look for it. I feel like they're smarter, so they can learn with you. The goats are a lot of fun, but they can be trouble. The sheep are not looking for trouble. They're not looking to escape. They're not going to test your fences, but they are so fear-driven because they're a prey animal. They can be really skittish. So our biggest goal is to work on getting these ladies friendly. If we can't get the one much friendlier, then we'll probably actually plan on keeping a ewe lamb that she might, if we can get her to have a ewe lamb, and try to raise that up so they're much friendlier, not quite so scared of us. They're already so much better than they were when we first got them. But the sheep are really easy to contain. They've gotten the routine down of moving the nets. At first we were terrified of them getting out of the nets while we were trying to move them to the next pasture. But they've learned the routine and it's a piece of cake. They know where the opening is, they know what to expect, and they run right into the new fresh grass. And when it's time to move them, they actually come and baa at us and let us know that it is time to move. So it is fun. The sheep really are pretty simple. They're easy. They're not very high maintenance, but they're also not as interactive. So in terms of kids and the farm, the goats are a lot more fun, but they can also be a lot more trouble too. Now sheep and goats actually struggle with the same intestinal parasites. So we don't let the sheep and goats cross over the same lands. So we have the sheep up front in our front pasture. We have the boy little herd, which was Shaun, and our two goats is kind of in our middle pasture, and then our does run in the barn pasture and back behind our barn. So we are not crossing paths in order to keep that parasite load down. We've loved having sheep. We've loved learning all about them. We're excited for what they can add to our homestead. And lambing season is always a time to look forward to because baby lambs and baby kids are always such fun. We hope that you'd give Katahdin hair sheep a try if you're looking for sheep. They're easy, that you don't have to deal with the shearing, and they're a pretty hardy breed. We're hoping that they will do great things for us. So we hope you have a great day.